Hey guys, Theron Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing another a very exciting podcast. Tonight we have Mr. Chris Keeble. He got fifth place last year in the Major League Fishing BFL tournament on Lake Pickwick. So we're very, very excited to have another top five finisher from last year and what he will predict for this year and how maybe this year he'll put it together to walk away with that W. So very excited to have Mr. Chris Keeble. Also, make sure you, if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube page. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. This notifies you when all of our content is dropping. We have a lot of great content coming in the near future. If you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, make sure you check us out, revitaloutdoors.com. We're a premium CBD company. We're THC free. We're great for all outdoor enthusiasts, and we're made right here in America. So make sure you check out our website and all of our products, and then follow us on social media as well. We got Facebook and Instagram. So without further ado, though, let's get right into this podcast. Mr. Chris Keeble, how you doing this evening, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. So always great to have kind of a younger angler on. I know you've had a great career with Major League Fishing. You've done a lot of great tournaments on Pickwick and the surrounding area where you live. So, man, let's just get right into it. Last year, top five finish for the BFL tournament. Awesome finish. Obviously, you had a great year. But talk to us about that tournament on Pickwick a little bit.
Man, it was one of them. To be honest with you, it was it was a roller coaster to say the least. I planned on having about 2 days of practice in that one, and of course that was during that time where we had all the bad weather and everything last year.
Right.
And day one, instead of practicing, we were staying at the house dodging tornadoes all day. Day two, got out I think 3 or 4 hours, and I found two little deals. One I felt like I could catch 12 or 13 pound on, just get a limit. The other deal, it was just, I mean, it was fishing like I would at the house, just fishing off and what I call feature pockets. So pockets where you don't have as much wood or you don't have that rock, just a pretty bare pea gravel bank, sand bank, red clay, anything like that, where those docks are really the only structure that the fish have to stage on. And I was just skipping and chatterbait up under those docks a little bit. First one I come up to got like a 4 pounder, and I was like, hey, we might be able to run with something here. And next four docks I came to, I didn't have a fish under 5 pound. And so next morning I told my co-angler, I said, buddy, I don't know if we're going to get struck by lightning and have the worst day of our lives today, or if we're going to have the best day. I said, but be ready either way. And because them storms were still rolling through, and we made a haul down the river, got down there, and by luck they were still there. I mean, we pulled up under a dock to dodge lightning 3 or 4 times that day, and I think the last time we pulled up under a dock was about 12 o'clock. And I told him, I said, if I can get one more good kicker, one 6, 7 pounder, I said, I feel like I'm gonna be sitting all right. And sure enough, come out from under that dock after the lightning storm kind of quit. First one I throw up under, caught a 6.5, go about 3 docks down, skip that chatterbait back up and under there, caught a 7 pounder, and I was like, dude, I said, we got to go. And so I ended up making it back, and I think I had 21.5 and ended up with a fifth place finish. So, but it was one of those tournaments that it just set up perfect, and it was fishing the way that I like to fish, shallow on docks. The fish were kind of moving around. Of course, it was a week later, I think, last year than what it is this year, and we'd had a lot warmer weather. Um, so may not be the exact same deal going on this year, but those fish were pulling up, trying to spawn. I mean, they had already gone dirt shallow, and just using them docks kind of as a staging point where they didn't have anything else.
Okay, cool. Well, good for you, man. So, you're one of the first guys we've actually interviewed that talks about dog fishing, and dog fishing is one of my favorite techniques ever in the world. So, walk us through. First of all, is that a strong pattern that you obviously have a confidence in? But walk us through how many keepers did you catch? What set up right about the dogs that you were catching fish on? What was the water clarity? Maybe some of the baits that you were throwing.
Yeah, so the docks are one of those things. I mean, I grew up on Fort Loudon Lake, and you basically do two things there: you flip brush piles and you flip docks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that was just the way that I grew up fishing, the way that I learned how to fish. So it was something. Anytime I can find that bite, I mean, it's something I have confidence in 110%. And it's one thing if I go to a new lake and docks set up right, then I mean, I'm not gonna go to New York and go fish docks in May when smallmouth are on the bed. But I come down here in the South and or around the house here in East Tennessee where I live, and it's say it's May, especially April to June is when they really get on them here. Then that's something I'm gonna go check immediately. And so whenever I got down there, again, that was one of those things. I knew they'd be pushing up shallow. I've done it a lot around the house. Even those floating docks, fish will use them to stage on if it's the only structure that they have. I mean, a lot of people don't even think to look there. A lot do, but a lot don't. To look on something like a floating dock where you may not even have the cables off of it or anything, and you don't have the poles. It's not a wooden dock. There's really no physical structure. But what's happening is those floats get algae and stuff like that on them, and so that's pulling in your bait fish, it's pulling in everything else, and allowing those fish a food source there. And they don't have to go far. The bank's right behind that dock. They've got a food source and shade right under it. It just allows them something to pull up to and has everything there that they need to survive while they're getting ready to go up and spawn. And so that's kind of what keyed me into it was just the history with doing stuff like that and what allows them, what makes them pull up to them. Um, and really, there was no specific depth range or anything to the docks. In all honesty, water clarity didn't seem to matter that week. Um, I fished mainly one or two pockets all day long. Now, they were kind of bigger pockets. I mean, I'm talking a quarter to a half mile stretch of docks. And the first dock might be in 2 foot of water back there in the very back of a pocket, and then I had one I caught a 4 pounder off of the shallowest dock in the cove, went 10, 15 docks out, and where it was 20 foot of water instead of 2 foot of water, and caught a 5 pounder. So it seems like though for the most part that time of year, whenever they get more finicky about it, I'm really going to look in that 5 to 10 foot of water range. That just kind of seems something good in between, them coming up out of the deep, going shallow, or coming out from being up shallow and spawning and moving back out deep. Um, Two things that I do with it really that time of year is I'll throw a chatterbait a lot. I've got one right here. So what I normally throw is just a Z-Man jackhammer, 3/8 ounce spot remover. And I've got the trailer that I throw on it a lot of the times. The Jinko trimmer shad. This is a 5 inch version in white shad. I throw a 4 inch version or the 3.5 most of the time. I didn't have any on I could grab though. But I just kept that thing as far back up under that dock as what I can. Where a lot of anglers may go through and flip the front edge, I'm throwing that thing as far back as I can get it and just slow rolling it out and throwing it on the full setup. It's a Dixie Custom Rods chatter stick. So it's a 7-1, I believe, medium heavy fiberglass or X glass rod. So it's half graphite, half glass. It's kind of that composite there. Uh, so sluggish like that, and they're barely eating it. It allows me to keep that rod tip up and still be able to keep that thing up in the water column whenever I'm slow rolling it. But at the same time, it's got enough give to it to where when they're sluggish, they're not really eating it real good. I'm not going to yank it out of their mouth, but I've got backbone to pull them out from way back there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all really, really good information. Just out of curiosity, these docks that you were relating to, you said you fished two pockets. Were these pockets that had these docks that you were catching your fish? Were they relating to the current or the river channel? Was the river channel bumping up into them, or was there a spawning flat back in the back where these docks were? Like, what made those two pockets with those docks stand out?
Man, to be 100% honest with you, I wish I could tell you. I mean, I really don't know. The thing that was weird was one of the pockets did have a spawning flat back there in the back of it. But it was like you kind of went in and it forked. You had a left hand bend and a right hand bend there, and I caught them mostly out of the left hand side. That was just a ditch line. I mean, it wasn't very long. It was probably a quarter mile deep into that pocket, and
Mm-hmm.
but there was no spawning flat back there. I mean, it was just a solid. It started at about 10 or 15 foot, went up to about 2 foot at the very back, just a straight ditch line. And I really never caught them off of the side that had the spawning flat, which was kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if it was the difference maybe in the bank up there behind those docks on that side, or what the deal was. But now the other pocket, It was same way. It didn't relate to current or anything. I mean, I'm a mile, I'm a mile back in some of the kind of more major creeks and where these pockets split off, and so there really wasn't any current relation to it, or really even wind. I mean, it was a really windy day, and I'm sure that kind of that little bit of ripple on the water, kind of breaking the surface up, helped a lot. But there was none directly on it. So it was one of those deals on the second pocket. It had a small kind of spawning flat in the back of it, maybe 50 to 100 yards long, but it wasn't much at all. But they were out kind of more towards the mouth of that one, leading out into the creek. And most of the fish that I caught off of it were post spawn, so I think they were already pulling back out, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Just another question about these docks. Was there any brush down there, or were they just holding straight to the dock?
Straight to the dock, man. I mean, I had two or three that had some, I mean, nasty looking brush piles up under them. And I really thought that those would be the ones, where I'd catch bigger fish at, or at least find more fish that would reload kind of throughout the day. And I actually never got bit off of them, to my surprise. I mean, it was all just straight to the dock. Now, most of them, one thing that was kind of a key was back to what I was saying about, like, the algae and stuff. The ones that had kind of more growth on them, or maybe had some of that underbrush that'll grow kind of out of the side of the floats and everything, those did seem to hold more fish. So I think that was, again, it's pulling in the believe plankton, maybe is what I'm trying to think of. If I hadn't been trying to think of it, I could have told you exactly what I want. But
Right.
that pulls the bait fish. The bait was just holding more up under those kind of docks that had more of that growth on it, and I think that's what was holding the fish there.
Okay. Okay. How many keepers did you catch last year?
In that tournament, I bet you I caught probably 12 or 13 that day, and I only had one under 3 pound. So
Wow.
they seemed to all be, fairly quality fish.
Yeah, the kinds you need. Okay, good for you. Um, so looking at last year versus this year, I know you said that there's going to be a week difference in there. Do you anticipate that the dock bite's going to be there again this year with Pickwick? Is the weather not setting up correctly? Like, what's your prediction from last year to this year?
Man, we haven't had the warm rain as much this year unless they get a bunch of it here in the next 2 weeks. I mean, it is North Alabama. I'm from East Tennessee. They do a lot of the similar things. There's a possibility it could come out of nowhere and happen. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out if we did get some warm weather, got some warm rain, or, especially those thunderstorms that time of year, you get a big drop in the barometric pressure. And if you get a warm rain to go with it, it can turn it on overnight almost. So, but if that doesn't happen, as cold as it's been, I really don't expect to see that play this year. Now, some of the deeper docks I could possibly see playing. I don't think they're going to be, as big of a deal as what it was last year, but I could see it being a solid pattern, out on some of the deeper docks, or really some of the points going back into the major creeks, instead of going into the pockets off of them. Kind of the points, primary and secondary points going into the major creeks. I could see them playing with something like a jerk bait, or maybe even cranking or something.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, well, Chris, you gave us a lot of information. Again, congratulations last year for your top 10. Hoping to see you repeat your success this year with the BFLs. What other tournaments are you fishing this year? How else can we follow Chris Keeble?
So actually this year I don't know how many BFLs I will be in. I was planning on fishing the Choo Choo division again, same as what I did last year. But I got into all 9 Bassmaster Opens, and then I found out about 2 weeks ago that I got into the NPFL. So I've got 15 tournaments, 6 there with the tour with the NPFL, and then 9 Opens. So that's primarily what I'll be fishing this year. I may jump in a BFL here or there, especially here on my home lake on Chickamauga. So, but yeah, it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Chris Keeble Fishing. Gonna be trying to keep everybody updated as much as we can this year, because got a lot of traveling, a lot of fish catching to do.
Absolutely. That's a great life to live. So, well, Chris, we want to give you this last opportunity before we get off here to thank any of your family, your friends, your sponsors. I know you got a lot of people that support you. Your social media platform is pretty solid. So now we just want to give you the time to thank any of those people that support your career.
Absolutely appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, man, I got to thank the good Lord. He's given me the opportunity, especially with the MPFL this year at 19 years old. I'm the youngest angler on tour in America. So, I mean, that's something that's really special to me and grateful to have that opportunity.
Wait a minute, hold on. You're 19 years old and you got into MPFL.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's impressive. Good for you, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's I mean, man, none of it would be possible without him, And my mom and dad and the rest of my family are a great support system. Always step in to help me wherever I need it, and always there at tournaments. Got a lot of great friends behind me, great group of guys that I travel with throughout the year, and just all my great sponsors, especially PB Lodge, which my family actually owns it, and me and my cousin manage it whenever we're not off at tournaments somewhere. And Camus Boats, Bunch Marine, Dixie Custom Rods, McKee Outdoors, Stub Designs, K&K Customs, Jinko Fishing. I mean, just all great people, man. Could not find a better group of folks to support me, and I'm glad that I get to work with them.
Absolutely. So, well, Chris, it's an honor for us to have you on Revital Outdoors' podcast. Good luck to you this year. I know you're going to be very, very busy, but we hope to have you on again soon because that means you're having a very successful 2022 campaign. And, man, we just wish you all the best of luck. And thank you again for coming on board with us.
Hey, absolutely, brother. I appreciate you having me on. I truly enjoyed it with you. Thanks.
For sure. So, absolutely. So, from all of us at Revital Outdoors, I'm Theron Asbury. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, you can see this podcast and many others just like it dropping in the near future. Make sure you follow Chris Keeble on all of his social media platforms. We're very, very excited to have this young man on our podcast. And again, from all of us at Revital Outdoors, thank you so much for your support. Be safe out there on the water. God bless, and we will talk to you on the next podcast.